Welcome to the Lockdown Economy, a UN-registered nonprofit initiative by think tank AlterContacts to help small businesses and self-employed professionals overcome the challenges of the pandemic and reactivate the economy. I'm your host, Christiana Finnegan, and today our honored guest is Bian Li, founder and CEO of the Hungry Lab. Welcome, Bian. Thank you for participating in this interview.
Hi, Christiana. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. What do you do as a business?
So the Hungry Lab is a education and incubation platform that future-proofs the future changemakers of the world. And we do this in three ways. So we have, the saying, are you hungry? Let's eat. And EAT is an acronym: educate, act, and transform. Educate is our online reschool for the future, where we are innovating and pioneering new ways and modalities to reshape minds and new learning methods for young people and the next generation of change makers to adapt and learn to this future of work. Because there's a huge gap between what you learn in the classroom and what the workforce needs. And that gap is only growing, especially as the future of work is rapidly shifting. So our school, our reschool to reimagine the future, is actually a collaborative support partner with universities, schools, startup incubators, as a partner to help them accelerate this transition and better equip their learners.
Awesome.
Then we have ACT, which is taking what you learned in the classroom and actually creating startup solutions, creating social enterprises to make a real impact with your idea. And so it's our innovation arm, and we work with startups, we work with social enterprises, we work with schools and their entrepreneurship hubs to help develop those ideas and essentially become an early stage mentor, advisor, coach, and incubator for these types of ideas. And to make real world impact. So real social innovation problems that they have ideas to solve. And we really want it to be a collaborative, community-based, and team-based. And then we have our think tank, our rethink tank for the future, where we're working with partners around the world in various capacities to do research on various future of work related to emerging technologies. How do we deploy emerging technologies for UN Sustainable Development Goals? And so we do a lot related to UN SDGs with partners around the world to ignite the momentum for community change and collaboration, as well as to find real world solutions and apply technology and the talent of the youth.
Awesome. Yes, it sounds like something that is really, really important right now, to educate, act, and think. And so is your company located at a specific geographic location?
So we started in Southern California. We are also a startup that's, accelerating other startups. So we started in Southern California, and then since then we've expanded. So we have partners in India, Malaysia, Singapore, and the Middle East, in Lebanon and Morocco and Egypt. And we're expanding. So that's where we have our implementation partners, where we're working with universities, schools, various startup incubators in various capacities, because everything has to be localized in the local geography. Yeah. And then we also have what we call our ecosystem partners. For example, a regenerative business movement in Paris that we're working with, as well as some startups in Sweden related to climate change and other partners in the UK on emerging technologies. And so it is a global effort, and it's a whole global village. And it's very exciting to be able to work with so many people around the world on such important topics.
Yeah, and it sounds very exciting. Do you have any employees?
Yes, so we have a partner in India and then we have a senior partner in Lebanon. And then we also have our director. We have 7 components of the Hungry Lab, and we just onboarded a wonderful woman in Beirut who is a Lebanese American, and she is the head of our healing lab. And so she's going to be the director of that. So we have various different topical holistic development programs related to the holistic development of the self and the startup and the organization. And one of them is the Healing Lab, where we focus on personal wellness, mindset, holistic health and wellness of that individual, because so many entrepreneurs were coming to us burnt out, stressed out, especially in COVID times, right?
Yes.
And how do you help people manage that in a healthy way? And in a sustainable way. And so we created these programs for them. And now we're working with schools to implement that into our overall programming for emotional intelligence, which is one of the key future skills that has been identified, coupled with personal growth and personal wellness. And so mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
That alignment is very important. So that's one of the main things that we do. And then we also have a partner in Philippines as well, related to business development. And then we also have, now we're onboarding 3 new young people as part of our student fellowship program that are going to be involved. And so they get the student experience, as well as being featured as a fellow, and they can do their independent research as part of their school projects on topics that we're working on that relate to them. And so, and then we also have local partners on the ground that we work with. But the core team is about 5 to 6 people.
Okay.
And we also have a team here in Southern California. We have our coaching and our mentorship, our startup advisory team. And we also make sure to have people who are of the same geography as our startups are based, as well as the specific domains and the right topical expertise. So it's a very well-rounded, very diverse ecosystem.
Yeah, it sounds like so.
Not just core Hungry Lab people, but also partners, instructors, facilitators, and mentors around the world.
Awesome. It sounds like you have not only your solid employees, but you also have a lot of collaborations around the world. And I love that you mentioned about holistic and like emotional intelligence, and it's a very important aspect of the pandemic. So looking at the pandemic, how did the lockdown and the pandemic affect the Hungry Lab?
So for us, it actually accelerated our push for digital transformation with schools. We had been doing online mentorship, whether it was online incubation or workshops or teaching on Zoom since about 2016, 2017. And so that was something that we had an online presence anyways, because we work with so many people around the world from our first office in Southern California. Now with this pandemic, it has forced everyone to go online, even if they were resisting it before, even if they were slow, it accelerated the pace. So for us, it was good because it allowed us to work with and impact more people as they got online, because we had the online programs already, and it forced us to also increase our online work. And, with, I think in a four-month period, we taught over 2,000 learners.
Oh, wow.
Just in India alone. And so it was something that was exciting for us to see that move. And of course, with any type of transition, there's always some hiccups and, ups and downs and things like that, growing pains as people grow. And one thing is we work with the teachers and the professors to make sure that transition was as smooth as possible.
Okay.
So that helped us. And now with this remote work from anywhere, we're seeing a shift in a lot of the startups that are trying to fill in this space. And so we're actually incubating a very exciting startup now based in Bali that is focusing on harnessing the power and the buying power of digital nomads.
Okay.
And the
what does that mean?
And the work, so basically this company is called Outlanders, and any company, anybody that is living outside of their country of origin is essentially an outlander. And that actually makes up almost 2.3% of the world's population. Okay. Yeah. And so, and within that, there are subsegments and focusing on building up that community, creating a marketplace, creating a community for them, creating that identity, and also being able to help provide that rapidly changing knowledge and information related to where you can go and all of the regulations that are changing. And how do you find support? Because when you're traveling or when you're working abroad, especially, how do you find your own community and how do you tap into local resources? Right. And so Outlanders serves to be that friend and that resource and that community. And building various services and solutions around that. So that's something that's very exciting, and that's perfectly aligned with these larger macroeconomic social trends that we're seeing. From anywhere, even governments now are providing digital nomad visas. And various things to accommodate this remote workforce, and the workforce should not go back to normal. Right. And so we're seeing a lot of these, and we're being able to be on the front lines of a lot of this, facilitating a lot of this, this transition. And so that's very exciting.
Yeah. So transitioning from, even you said you had 2,000 students in India, transitioning to this online platform. And I believe that is going to be the way of the future as well. Did you have any key challenges that you'd like to share, and how did you overcome them?
I think I wouldn't necessarily call them challenges. It's just a natural part of that transition process. With first is mindset. Anytime you have to manage change, there's going to be people who are resistant to it. Right. They've done things this way for so long, and it's so a part of that challenge, I guess, is to how do you ensure that everyone buys into this new way of doing things, and get them to be willing to change and be enthusiastic about it, and be willing to adapt and learn. The learning curve is something that for a lot of people might take some time, depending on how much technology proficiency you have. So that's something that we found requested by universities to help us help their professors. And help their teachers. So that was something that we were getting a lot of requests for. And then how do you actually redesign the content? Because something that might work in a live setting might not necessarily transfer into attention or engagement online. So that transition of repurposing or reinventing the content was also something that we received a lot of requests for. So these are some of the challenges that our partners on the ground were facing. And so that's something that we saw across the board. It didn't matter if you were in India or the US, it was fairly universal. And then obviously, with COVID, you had health challenges. You had to be very patient and understanding of work disruptions, and all of that. So, adding that level of empathy was very important. To be able to, to work and collaborate healthfully and sustainably.
And I agree. It's a challenging time, and being empathetic with people who could be sick or could have someone that was sick, and also change it is hard for people. So also being empathetic to the teachers and professors who are having to experience all this at once is definitely an important aspect. I think you pointed out something really important. How is your business doing now, and what are your plans for the coming months?
So we're very excited. We're getting a lot of traction with our Rethink Tank, and we're signing up a few more startups to be part of our rolling ongoing cohort for the incubation. This year, we're planning to further roll out more programs related to 3 key elements of the Hungry Lab. The Healing Lab, because we're seeing more and more need for that. And our program called the Field of Future Skills, which focuses on not just teaching the emerging technologies from a technical perspective, like AI and blockchain, but also teaching the soft skills and the meta skills and the key learning skills of how to learn, how to adapt, cognition, combining those into various programs so that we can help people make that shift from knowing what to learn to learning how to learn for the lifelong journey of learning, which is what we're seeing is required because things are changing so fast. What you learn today might not be relevant next year. So you have to continuously be keeping up with your skills and everything.
Yeah.
And that's something that people struggle with.
Sure, absolutely.
Because that learning how to learn is a skill in itself.
Yeah.
And so that's another key element that we're growing, as well as our partnerships that we signed. We signed a number of different MOUs in 2020, and now we're looking forward to working with them on implementing the programs that we set out to collaborate on. We're seeing more interest in emerging technology for climate change, for sustainable development, for workforce development, creating jobs in sustainable economies. And so that conversation is, we're seeing being reflected in different types of startups that are coming our way. And different types of education content, as well as different types of partners to build. Like I said, our partner in Paris, one of them is called Positive, and they do a regenerative business. And so having these larger conversations is something that we're going to continue to push through our thought leadership in 2021 about how do we actually want to reshape this future, and how do we want to rebuild it for everybody, not just for the people at the top or people who have all the wealth. How can we actually make it affordable, accessible for everybody? And especially COVID has laid bare the disparities between the haves and the have-nots, and
absolutely,
and in the essential worker economy. And so and people are already anxious about getting left behind. And the economy has not helped for most your average person, right?
Yeah.
And so how do we get a grip on all of these issues and create a path forward for people that is accessible to them? And so that's what we're trying to do and continue to push and continue to build that movement. And it requires a global effort and a global village to do so. So we're looking forward to all of these things and many more in 2021.
Yeah, and this sounds absolutely so exciting, and change is coming and change is here. And so I hope that the change will be a positive one, sustainable, and that will encompass everyone equitably.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So my last question is, could you give us 3 things that you need help with?
In terms of work, or
in terms of your business, in terms of personally, like 3 things that you feel like you would benefit from?
I'd say, just 3.
You can name a few. The top 3.
How many hours do we have? No, I would say for me, I was just talking, everybody I talk to, I think all of us on a personal level, we're just trying not to gain weight at home.
The COVID-15.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's one. And fairly important, just maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And I know that a lot of people have been struggling, not just with COVID-related real losses, for people, but also mentally not being able to socialize, see their friends, see their loved ones, see their family, that takes a toll on certain people.
Absolutely.
And so maintaining that mind, body, spirit, health, wellness, development. So that's important because you also, we can't help others if we are not healthy ourselves. Right?
Yes.
You can't pour from an empty cup. So self-care is something that I think more people are realizing how important that is. And for me personally, it's also a discipline that I have to continue to practice self-care. So I can be at my best to help others.
Absolutely.
So that's one. Second is always, the factor between time and the amount of work that needs to be done. And one thing that I found that I learned in 2020 was, and that I'm continuing to improve upon in 2021, is that it's not really about time management. It's about energy management, right? You can do something that takes 10 hours, but you feel so energized. Right? And so fun, like it didn't feel like work. Right? So that's where your energy is flowing in a good way, and that you're naturally in tune to that, right? And that's where you can work efficiently. You're in flow. Versus even a task, like for me, it's paperwork, right? Paperwork is the bane of my existence. Right? 20 minutes of paperwork, if I even get to it, it's like, it feels like it took 5 hours and I'm drained, and then I want to just lie down and take a nap afterwards. Right.
Yeah.
So it's about managing energy and
Yeah.
understanding that we are all wired differently, and we should go, why try to go uphill both ways, pushing a rock all the time? Go where it flows. That's the universe's way of telling you, this is what
Absolutely.
you're meant to focus on, because that's where your flow is. That's where your genius is.
Yeah.
Right? Anything else, like I can hire somebody to do paperwork. I can
Exactly.
hire, and so that is something that I think, especially in these days, we all try to do everything, or, we're just go. And I think the COVID has really helped us slow down and reflect, and figure out how do I best manage my time, especially when we're at home all the time, right? There really is no distinction between office and home now anymore.
Yeah.
I have my work pajamas and then I have my sleep pajamas, and that's pretty much the difference. Yeah. and so that is something that I feel is important for me. And I found that, we're working actually in a lot of our programs to help tap into everybody's own unique powers, right? And unique strengths and unique core. And it's all about energy management. So that's something that, I'm going to continue to work on. I recommend it to other people, and as something to just check it out for yourself to see if that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing would be just I think that, I don't know if there's any way around it, but just more visibility into the COVID situation.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's up and down, right? We got a vaccine, but now we have a new variant, right? We got this, but now this. And that we're okay. I mean, we count our blessings because we've been doing everything online. We don't need to travel, and that's okay. I used to travel a lot. But that's okay. We can manage. It's just that a lot of our partners, especially the schools, right, the teachers, they're told they have to stay open and then close and then open and then close, right, in different countries, and that takes a toll on the students. It takes a toll on the teachers, and obviously it affects the people that work with them.
Sure.
In terms of managing our programs, implementation. So we've moved everything online. It used to be a hybrid. Now we've been mostly moving most things online. A lot of the stuff that we had planned to do hybrid again, because the regulations had opened up, have now been closed again because we're under new lockdowns. And so that is a very logistical struggle. It's a real challenge. I think everybody's just doing the best they can. Every country is different now with the COVID situation. And with a global organization like ours, we just have to be on top of the news and be very nimble and flexible. And so I think that's the best that we can do related to that.
Yeah. And absolutely. Staying healthy, keeping yourself grounded, wherever your flow of energy goes, will help you manage these ups and downs. It's closed, it's open, the new mutation, just so unstable. So I think that internal stability is really important. Yeah. Thank you, Bian, so much. We're grateful for you taking your time to share your pandemic experience. I hope this will be helpful and inspiring to others as well. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. Feel free to contact Bian Li using the links on the description below. And I invite you to hit thumbs up to this video and subscribe to our channel, where we have more insights from many countries and business sectors. Stay tuned.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.